These were followed by suppression, misinformation, and a shutdown of government-funded research in the United States.
It's the same. It's the same play.
Oh, we got to get rid of Wi-Fi.
Dude. I watched Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Joe Rogan yesterday, and it gave me an opportunity to look into some of the old school anti-vax claims. First, Joe Rogan lets us know that he used to think RFK Jr. was kind of loony, but now he's a true believer in RFK's anti-vax claims because Joe Rogan is now kind of loony. Okay, let's take a look.
When I had heard of you in the past, before I had read your book and before I'd met you, I had no information on you, but there was this narrative, and this narrative was you were anti-vax and you believed in pseudoscience and you were kind of loony. I didn't look into it at all. I just took it at face value because that's what everybody had said. And in my mind, vaccines have been one of the most important medical advancements in human history, saved countless lives, protected children. And I thought very strongly that they were important. I didn't have any information on that either. This was also just a narrative that I've adopted from cursory reading of news articles and, not really getting into the subject at all. Then the pandemic happened. And I had quite a few very reasonable, liberal people, rational people that I trusted their mind, recommend The Real Anthony Fauci, your book. And I'm like, Robert Kennedy wrote a book about Anthony Fauci? Like, what is this going to be about? This is my initial reaction. You've got this, what I perceive to be a kind of fringy thinking, almost conspiracy theorist type person that's not based in fact with their argument.
Bro, Joe Rogan literally is like, he's just as dumb as he always was, even back then. Except the difference is his stupidity caused him to believe the right thing back then, and his stupidity is now causing him to believe the wrong thing. Okay, same guy. Like, oh, I was just unquestioning of the narrative. It's like, yeah, that's a problem, but at least back then, your unquestioning loyalty to legacy media caused you to believe the correct thing on accident. I was informed last night that this tweet is fake. The show was already out, so we initially decided to post a notice saying we got tricked, and later thought it best just to delete it from the episode. My sincere apologies to everyone, especially the person who got hoaxed. Frizzle McDizzle, Joe Rogan reacts to a doctor's insane tweet with Brett Weinstein and how we should treat each other with post-mass formation psychosis. Apparently, this tweet drew so much ire from Joe Rogan stans that they were destroying this lady. So I will never regret the vaccine, even if it turns out I injected actual poison and have only days to live. My heart was in the right place. I got vaccinated out of love while anti-vaxxers did everything out of hate. If I had to die because of my love for the world, then so be it, but I will never regret or apologize for it.
If it turns out I injected actual poison and have only days to live, my heart...
It's just interesting, man. Joe Rogan keeps finding himself as one of the main guys on the internet that is super famous, has massive reach. He just keeps finding himself owned over and over again.
Ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher. And she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal. I got vaccinated out of love while anti-vaxxers did everything out of hate. If I have to die because of my love for the world, then so be it. But I will never regret or apologize for it. It's a fascinating perspective. And it's also a fascinating perspective that this person claims to be about love, but has the most uncharitable view of...
Jamie really got to be helping him out more, dude. Pull that shit up. University has been slacking lately, okay? So funny that he's talking about discourse when he literally has not had a single person who checks him in any meaningful capacity on his show in years now. And because of that, he literally ends up repeating psychotic right-wing unhinged lies like, trans teenagers are shitting in kitty litter boxes in schools with zero repercussions, mind you, because no one is there to check him because he's Joe Rogan. Who's going to check him at the end of the day? At least back in the day, young Jamie would pull that shit up. I have yet to see young Jamie pull a single shit up in months. Where the f is Jamie? Maybe he's worried that he can't get enough play or something. I don't know what it is, but he really, really, really needs to he really needs to be bro, this is not real.
People who didn't get vaccinated, that everyone got anti-vax out of hate. The idea that I didn't get vaccinated out of hate, I find so ridiculous. I don't hate anyone. I am a loving person. I do it on purpose. I go out of my...
No, you didn't get vaccinated because you're a dumbass, bro.
way to be as charitable and as kind as possible. And when I don't, I feel very disappointed in myself. If I make any decision or a statement that I feel like doesn't align with that, maybe flippantly in the moment, maybe joking around, I'm very disappointed in myself. I'm very self-critical. When I see something like that, I'm like, that is ideological capture at its highest level. Because put that back up again. So what you're seeing, one of the things that she's realizing here is that there is a narrative. And one of the narratives is the vaccine might be bad for you. So she's saying, even if it turns out
He said, Jamie, pull that shit up again. He said, Jamie, pull that shit up again, dude. I'm not done with that. Give it to me.
injected actual poison. The idea that you wouldn't be upset that you were duped into injecting actual poison when you were thinking that this was somehow going to save people and save the world is so insane that wouldn't bother you. But you are uncharitably categorizing all people who are hesitant in getting an experimental medical intervention that's never been tried on mass amounts of human beings in human history, and that there's no long-term data to suggest anything.
I mean, that's literally, like, you're just describing, again, every vaccine and most medicine, okay? But especially vaccines. Not only that, but you also took ivermectin, dog. What the are you talking about? Like, he's like, no, the only time we can take medicine is if it's like, you know, if it's demonstrably worked on animals for other okay? And human beings, this is a dewormer, okay? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Nah, dude, you don't understand. I'm injecting myself with insulin right now. What? I have cancer, but I'm injecting myself with insulin. I don't want to take any that's not tried yet. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't understand. I'm also taking ibuprofen on the side too. You know, this shit's gonna be good.
Safety, dangers, risks, and also, if she's a doctor, a medical doctor, she should know about the VAERS system. And she should know that although there are people that report things that turn out to not be correct, there's a very low number of vaccine injuries that get reported in respect to the actual number of vaccines.
Where did you get that from? Where? You can't bring up the VAERS system, talk about how the VAERS system is self-reported, so it's like very clearly susceptible to people lying, and then make up a lie on the spot about how, like, oh, dude, so many people like don't even report it, even though a lot of the reports are just fake. You know, they say like Harry Potter got a vaccine injury, but also like there's so much more that's not reported.
Vaccine injuries that take place. And in
like there's evidence that women, okay, tell the truth in many instances about sexual assault that goes unnoticed. There's evidence for it. There's empirical evidence. Yes, sure, women sometimes lie, but the amount of women that don't lie and get overlooked or get for the system is significantly higher. There's empirical evidence for that. Joe Rogan looks at that and goes, I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, there is no evidence for the idea that like there are more people that get vaccine injured and don't actually report it to VAERS. There's no evidence for that whatsoever. He just made it up, or he read it in a Facebook post or something.
In the past, that number has been estimated with previous diseases to be in the neighborhood of 1%. So for every 100 people that has a vaccine injury, one of them gets reported into the VAERS system. I don't know what the number is with SARS-CoV-2. I don't think anyone knows, because we hear stories. I mean, it's so anecdotal. I hesitate to even discuss it. You know, oh, I know this guy and he had a stroke, and they knew it because of the vaccine, but the doctors wouldn't put that in the VAERS system, and they were.
Dude, what the this is crazy. He's like, yeah, dude, the doctors all are like, we gotta hide the truth. We gotta hide the truth, man. We all gotta universally get together. Like, a buddy of mine, he got a stroke, and the doctors were like, oh, it's definitely from the vaccine that you took, but we're gonna hide it. We're gonna engage in malpractice that is like, that you can easily get sued for. Like, what the hell? What the hell are you saying? What the It's just, yeah, dude, everyone is in on this conspiracy, but like, of course, the government's in on it too. He is lost in the sauce. It's like trying to listen to, you know, someone having a schizophrenic attack, okay, and trying to make sense of it. Joe Rogan has been owned so many times about spreading fake news, especially as it pertains to this issue, specifically because like he is so motivated. He is so motivated to like, you know, say that he's right. So he'll believe anything and everything. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it seems, right? He's just like, no, I believe it. I believe it. Like a buddy of mine.
I know a guy who got COVID 3 months after getting vaccinated. And he was like, what the man? My friend just almost stroked out in a Walgreens.
All my friends are horribly unhealthy. They're all comedians, but none of them have had a stroke.
Well, this guy, they took his booster just last week.
Yeah.
And within 15 minutes, they had to take him to the hospital.
Not good.
Not good. I knew another
From the
guy.
vaccine.
Yeah, and then there's the guy from jiu-jitsu that had a heart attack and 2 strokes. And I was like, Jesus Christ. A good friend of mine who's an elite athlete got infected with COVID. It was nothing. He breezed through it. And then he got vaccinated. He was wrecked for 11 days. A friend of mine went, and he's a white guy. And he went, and they told him that they couldn't give it to him because of his age and his body mass. Because he's white. Fact check. No policy denies white people antibody treatment. Yeah, but they absolutely did to this guy, I know. This might be covering up for some horseshit.
Or it's not, but
It's hard to say.
It's just crazy that Joe Rogan knows so many people, and all of those people have been victims of vaccine incidents. You know what I mean? What is he like? Track the VAERS database and befriend them or something? Like he's just constantly finding himself surrounded by people who are dying of vaccine attacks when billions of doses have been administered and like this has not happened. Or he's just lying because he saw a Facebook meme and he just is substituting that with a buddy of mine. There's a couple issues where he will believe anything, no matter how insane it sounds. And then he'll be like, it sounds insane, right? And it's like, that's the moment where you should go, nah, dog, like it does sound insane because it's not real, okay? Like anything that's related to trans people being crazy and strange, Joe's like, yeah, buddy of mine actually experienced that. And vaccines are the other one.
Refuse to put it in the VAERS system. You hear about all these stories. And then you hear about financial incentives that were in place to not just say that someone died from COVID, but that different financial incentives were in place to use certain protocols, medical protocols and treatment. So they were financially incentivized to use certain things, certain medication. And then if the person was treated, if the person was ventilated, there's more financial incentive. Remdesivir, there's different things.
In the eyes of the Norman population, most people have like moved beyond COVID, okay? The people who took all the precautions, people who took vaccines, the people who like mask wore in public and all that stuff. Like, I'm not talking about COVID being over. It's clearly not. People still have COVID, okay? People are still getting COVID. But in the eyes of like the American population and the population across the planet for the most part, people are like living in a post-COVID world, right? It's only people like Joe Rogan who are like obsessed, hyper obsessed still, that still constantly talk about COVID. So someone like Joseph Robinette Rogan still talking about it like this every day, having Brett Weinstein on to talk about it, like it's obvious. It's obvious that he's like still hyper obsessed. This kind of shit, for the most part, by the way, is weird to the Norman audience too. I wouldn't be surprised if plenty of his audience members are literally watching this going like, come on, dog, like nobody cares. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan is a buffoon, okay? Shitting on vaccinating and shitting on vaccines is one of the most annoying things you can do.
Things that there was financial incentive in private hospitals. So these are businesses, and these businesses run a lot of them. You know, it's a very precarious business.
Oh my God, he's still talking about it.
If I wasn't doing this podcast, okay, if I was just a regular comedian and that's what I did for a living, and I didn't pay much attention to alternative media and podcasts that were discussing this, or all these people that were sounding the alarm, if I was one of those people that didn't have the access to these kind of conversations, I would not have a nuanced perspective. And if I had gotten vaccinated and other people didn't, I would be like, those people. I would be just like people I know who I used to be friends with, who now hate me and are angry at me and talk shit about me online. And I forgive them. I know people can be sketchy. There's sketchy people out there in the world. And the people that haven't experienced that and don't have that perspective, I can understand why they formed the conclusions that they did, because I could have been them. I 100% could have been there.
I love this. This is the endless debate around skeptics who are incredibly skeptical of the narratives, right? The narratives like the common sense legislation or the things that like the scientific community sometimes arrives at a consensus on. Those are always things that you have to be skeptical of. But all the bullshit that I get from my Facebook feed that corresponds to my personal biases, I will never give a shred of skepticism to. And that is at the heart of every quote unquote skeptic. These motherfuckers are never skeptical with the sides that they agree on. They're just never skeptical of anything that they see on their Facebook feed, but everything they see from scientists, there must be a vast conspiracy out there. It's like, how about you issue some of your skepticism lasers towards the 1 pixel Facebook meme that your grandfather shared?
Because I would have been like them if I didn't have the access to the kind of conversations that I've had, if I didn't have the kind of mindset that I have, that my personality that is just immune to bullshit. When bullshit hits me, I'm go, oh, I know what this is. It made me so sad. It made me so sad. Because there's this young kid. He looks like he's probably like 17 or 18, and the father's 42. And the father beats the shit out of him. I mean, like, dings him in the head and keeps punching him. I'm like, that's your son. That's your son. And we're watching you beat your son up. You failed. You've failed as a man. Yeah, this is it.
That's not exactly what was happening.
It's not? What is it?
They're not father.
Oh, why does it lie? It says father knocks out son in celebrity boxing match.
Gotta get somebody to click on this.
Bro, you are the dumbest man on the planet. He said, why does it lie? He said, why does it lie? Thank God he's immune to bullshit. Did you know RFK Jr. also believes that cell phones and Wi-Fi give you cancer, damage your mitochondria, and give you a leaky brain? That's the kind of guy we're dealing with.
Wi-Fi radiation does all kinds of bad things, including causing cancer.
Wi-Fi radiation causes cancer.
Yeah, from your cell phone. I mean, there's cell phone tumors. You know that. I mean, I'm representing hundreds of people who have cell phone tumors behind the ear. It's always on the ear that you favor with your cell phone. And you know, we have the science. Oh, if anybody lets us in front of a jury, it will be over. You know,
So what is the number? Because a lot of people use
There's
cell
a lot of people with it. They're glioblastomas. That's the kind of cancers they get. But cancer's not the worst thing. They also, you know, it opens up, Wi-Fi radiation opens up your blood-brain barrier. Wi-Fi radiation.
Seems real. Joe's convinced. We got to get rid of
Wi-Fi is doing to us, since it's everywhere, and since everyone's experiencing, including you. What do you think it's doing to us?
I think it degrades your mitochondria. And it, you know, opens your blood-brain barrier.
Do you see anything online of how it could open up your blood-brain barrier?
I don't know about how, but that
it does?
I found an article. I was trying to find the validity of it, but it has a statement on here.
Damage the blood-brain barrier. Radio frequency radiation exposure has been shown to affect the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, as well as altering the expression of microRNA within the brain, which researchers state could lead to adverse effects such as neurodegenerative disease. Whoa. How come we don't know that?
Doctor that did a study said that banned it on Research China, and there's a published article here around.
They call it leaky brain.
The findings.
Whoa, pull that shit up, Jamie. Jamie, what the f are you pulling up, dog? You're supposed to be the normal guy. Bullshit. I know the people who did research on opening the BBB using microbubbles and RF. That's not Wi-Fi, and you can't do it without microbubbles. What? Bro, I don't even know what the f you're saying right now, Fizz. I trust him. He's got a PhD, but I have no idea. You might as well be speaking a different language right now.
Things were followed by suppression, misinformation, and a shutdown of government-funded research in the United States.
It's the same. It's the same play.
Oh, we got to get rid of Wi-Fi.
Dude.